everybody, X here. Back at it again to give you another very exciting video. And for today, a couple or a few weeks ago, Sakurai himself actually sat down on his YouTube channel and actually gave his development experience with Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And in that video, he kind of alluded to what the future of the Super Smash Bros. Series could be after Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to just go through some of the things he actually pointed out within that video, and then some of my takes and spills on it in terms of like what I would love to see within a future entry within the Super Smash Bros. Series though. So I hope you really like this video, because it's not every day that we get to talk about something brand new within Smash, because Smash Bros. Ultimate has been out for quite some time though. But if you haven't already done so, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. So in Mr. Sakurai's video, he talked about all of his development experiences within Super Smash Bros. Brawl. He's always been the main director in every single Super Smash Bros. Game, from Super Smash Bros. 64 all the way over to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate though. And it was kind of interesting how he talked. I heard about this story before, how he went through and his experiences with Super Smash Bros. Brawl, because literally they were talking about these different games and stuff that was going to be coming out on the Wii, and they really wanted to push and prioritize games that will actually be able to use the Wi-Fi connection within the Wii itself. It was interesting how they actually announced that game before Sakurai even knew anything about that. So Mr. Iwata actually took Sakurai, you know, behind closed doors in an office and whatnot though, and actually talked and discussed about the details and saying, hey, we would love to have you actually be the director or closely associated with it. It was interesting how he talked about he was a freelancer, he can, you know, work on other projects and whatnot though. He wasn't really like strictly tied to Nintendo. And Mr. Iwata was like, well, you know what, shoot. So Sakurai was like, hold on, that didn't even sound like a sequel. And this has been a crazy ride, just seeing everything he's made from 64 all the way to here though. That's the one thing that kind of popped up into a lot of people's mind, was like, could you actually see another Smash Bros. Game without Sakurai at the helm? Even Mr. Onuma had his own thoughts about it way back when in 2005 in a Famitsu article, and it reads, to be frank, if Mr. Sakurai isn't involved, it will likely spell the end of the Super Smash Bros. Series. He packs in elements from so many different games, yet never fails to make it coherent and fun for players. That's a product of his ability, taste, and thought process, and nobody could ever replace that. A Smash Bros. Game lacking that spirit wouldn't be worth making at all, I'd say. So yeah, so it's really interesting to see even Mr. Onuma himself, the person that spearheads most of our Legend of Zelda games, even noticed that it was hard to separate what could be the creator from the actual series itself. Sakurai has this very unique touch that hardly anybody else can be able to replicate. Taking all of that, if we were to get another Super Smash Bros. Game, which I'm pretty sure we will, we can go ahead and talk about some of the things that I think that we can see within the next Super Smash Bros. Game that will help differentiate itself. So first, cut the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster all the way down to Super Smash Bros. Melee. That might sound crazy to a lot of different people. Inevitably, we ain't gonna be able to have most of those starter party characters come back. Yes, we might have solid ones like Pac-Man or Sonic, like legacy third-party characters like that. Those are going to probably be the more likely ones to get back in. When you reduce the roster down that small, it allows you to go back and rework every single character with their movesets and change them up. Some of these DLC characters play honestly a whole lot better than just the original base roster of these characters. Yes, they kind of got slightly tweaked and changed throughout the years between Brawl to Super Smash Bros. 4 to Ultimate and whatnot though. Look at Mario's moveset. Like, he has Flood and he has Cape. I mean, there's a lot of different things since then, and that twisty Cape from Super Mario World could go back and involve some other things from his other more recent titles and entries, like some things from Super Mario Odyssey, like maybe you can get some Cappy stuff kind of going on. But people's movesets have changed throughout the year. Even if you look at certain characters like Samus and whatnot though, from some of the Aeon abilities that she has gotten from like Samus Returns, or even some of the other newer things that she managed to get from Dread, I mean, like, there's a lot of different characters out there that we can go back and get some newer entries, because some of these characters have not been touched in a very long time and actually modernize these characters where at least now the old classic characters don't feel like quite a drastic change compared to the DLC characters that we now are getting right there. Like everybody will be on the same equal playing field. It's time to level this mess out. So second, we need a brand new, robust single player campaign similar to Subspace Emissary on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Since Brawl, that story has been great. Honestly, sometimes I'll even go back to it now and actually go back and replay that story because the story was just that good. I know they might have had some conflict in the past, you know, people streaming the game and kind of slightly spoiling it, but I mean, like in modern day age nowadays, I'm like, people streaming games on Twitch all the time. It's gonna naturally get out of there. Have a good single player campaign like that. I just love the personal interactions that you got within, like Pikachu and Samus, and then you have like Mario, Yoshi, Link and stuff working together though, and you had Meta Knight's crew and stuff like that with Peach and Sheik and stuff. Like, of course, you know, with the inclusion of that, not just story elements alone though, but it would have been like, how do you go about, you know, introducing a brand new story, brand new threat and whatnot though. I just love to see more modernized worlds, some of these newer IPs that could be introduced into the fray and bringing their worlds, and seeing all this stuff in HD would just be absolutely great. But that's something I would really love to see within this newer Smash Brothers entry. Now, third on the list, yes, this is the one that I think a lot of people would agree on, is a better online connection. If you look all the way back to Super Smash Bros. Brawl, that online was super crusty. When you in Super Smash Bros. 4, it wasn't that bad. Definitely in comparison, it was great. Ultimates, I don't know why, but at least at the very beginning of its launch, it was kind of iffy, so-so-y, but now actually when I hop on the game right now, it's actually pretty good, unless you're playing with some friends that have some spotty bad connections. I mean, still, it's not ideally perfect though. What I would love to see is some rollback netcode for this game. That way it just helps the online play out a whole lot better, be a whole lot smoother, because for people with Super Smash Bros. Game, yes, it's a great party game that you can play with a lot of friends locally, with people that you just happen to meet just at your house or whatnot though. But for a lot of people, playing online is where most of the interactions with fighting game normally typically likes to go. Plus, this happens to be one of the flagship esports games that Nintendo has, you know, with this series, along with Splatoon, as well as, you know, Mario Kart though. So having the online be really tight is extremely critical, at least for this one series right here. So I think they need to step it up just a little bit more, or shoot, I say a little bit more, a lot more. All right, so number 4 here, I think there's probably 2 things that you can do. Thing number 1 is, you know, when you notice when you're holding your Pro Controller or your 2 sets of Joy-Cons, you have A, B, X, and Y. Obviously, A, for most people, the way how you kind of set it up with your controls and stuff. B is obviously usually your specials. And then you have X and Y. And usually they kind of usually do basically the same thing. You can, you know, program one to be your jump button. For me, I usually like using X as my jump, but then that Y button, or vice versa, depending on which way you flip it, usually isn't being used for anything else. It's more like a duplicate clone button. However, let's make the Y button actually a whole nother subset of special moves that the character has. So technically you have 4 different specials, but then if you had another 4 directional things with the Y button, then you technically have 8 different moves. And yes, you'll be able to even dive a little bit further, allows people to have even more move sets, allow different combinations in terms of combos and the way how you get to defend against other people. All of that would be possible when you actually shrink that roster down, because then you get to actually mess more with the physics and what characters are potentially able to do with that though. So I think that's something that would be really cool. And then also, I would like for there to be an option where you can hold a button and then it's tight, this, you know, move the stick in any direction, and make some of your tilt attacks that much easier to use. Because yes, I know I am a tap jumper. I don't like to actually hit like the X button or whatnot, though. I like using it with the actual stick though. But for people that love to play like that, just an easier way to how you're able to use your tilt attacks be really nice, and something that would make it quite different from all the different past Smash Bros. Games that we received up until this point. Now, lastly, I was just thinking of one last little thing. It's like a 5th idea to kind of bring up into the fray or whatnot though. And I was just thinking, I think they were cooking on something when they had the 3v3 or the 5v5 modes, when you're able to actually play with people locally. That's something I really actually loved and appreciated. And it's something that I think technically Multiverses actually kind of built upon it with its Tag Team 2 battles though. I would love love to see the 3v3 and the 5v5 actually be featured within online play. It can just be in the kind of standard form of how we kind of saw it within Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so that way it can just be kind of used in competitive play as well. But make a little spin on it. Make it where you hit a certain combo of buttons where you actually get to switch the character out on the fly, similar like, you know, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and just instantly switch the character. So I guess you're technically doing like a bunch of Zelda and Sheik, like how you used to do back in the Brawl days or whatnot. Though maybe, you know, like a lot of that though. It'd be really interesting and make some very diverse fights right there though. But this is kind of just a random thing I just kind of thought about. But honestly, if they were to include it, it would actually make it feel quite different though. So those are all the different things I feel like that Sakurai himself could actually put into a brand new sequel for the Super Smash Bros. Series, because I don't think you can continue with Smash Bros. The way how it is. I think it's gonna evolve. For some odd reason, you somehow managed to watch this video, which I highly doubt it, but if you somehow managed to, hey, I gave you the ideas right here, so all you gotta do is I don't want to see you stressed out. I don't want to see you overworked, hooked up to an IV and just over here just mad control. Like, have you seen that dude manage to play with two Switch Pro controllers at the same time and be able to actually, you know, it's just crazy the fact that he was able to do that and be able to do all his testing and stuff like that. Like, the man has some mad craft to his skills though, but oh shoot. But yeah, man, you know, just take those ideas, and I think honestly we might be cooking very well with a brand new entry within the Super Smash Bros. Series though. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below all that you think about some of the things that Sakurai has mentioned within one of his latest videos with him on his YouTube channel though. I'll probably leave the link down in the description box down below so you can actually watch that for yourselves though. And then also, in terms of what could be for a brand new Super Smash Bros. Game, is there some other idea that I hadn't even thought about that maybe you have thought, or what you would like to see in the next Smash Bros. Game? I'll be curious to see what you're possibly thinking about down in the comment section down below though. But that's gonna basically do it for today's video though. So if you really like it, make sure you're gonna hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.